This video features 1970s running backs who were one-year wonders. The first one is the Rams' Willie Ellison, who finally broke out in his fifth NFL season, 1971. On December 5th, Ellison had 13 carries for 186 yards. In the first half, he ended up with 243 yards, which broke Jim Brown's single-game NFL record, as well as AFL record of 243 yards held by Cookie Gilchrist of the Buffalo Bills. From 1967 through 1970, Ellison started 13 games and rushed for 937 yards. By comparison, in 1971, Willie started 13 games and ran for an even 1,000 yards. Ellison joined Dick Bass as the only Rams players at that time to rush for at least 1,000 yards in a single season. Bass turned the trick in both 1962 and 1966. Ellison peeled off this 50-yarder in Week 2 when he ran 19 times for 138 yards. In 1970, Rams head coach George Allen swore an allegiance to Les Josephson as his primary ball carrier. Ellison touched the ball an even 100 times in 1970. Josephson was age 28 in 1970, an age back then when production normally began to nosedive. When the Rams fired George Allen after the season ended, new head coach Tommy Prothro increased Ellison's workload to almost 2.5 times in 1971. Playing the league's toughest schedule, he guided the Rams to an 8-5-1 record. The Rams missed the playoffs by a half game when the 49ers came back from behind to beat the Lions 31-27 in the final regular season game. One downside to Willie Ellison's otherwise fantastic season, in which he had the 5th most touches in the NFL, was his 8 fumbles. After the 1972 season, Ellison was traded to the Chiefs in order to make room for future star running back Lawrence McCutcheon, who rushed for 1,097 yards in 1973. It was downhill for Willie because he only combined for 1,289 rushing yards from 1972 through 1974. But he did have that magical 1971 season. Tony Reed's one and only big season was 1978. He attended high school in Japan because his dad was stationed there at a military base. He later attended Antelope Valley Junior College in the United States as well as the University of Colorado. Drafted in the 1977 second round by the Chiefs, he accumulated 630 yards, but that number would spike to 1,536 scrimmage yards in 1978. Thanks to new head coach Marv Levy's installation of the old wing T formation, a halfback, a fullback, and a wingback stationed at the outside shoulder of the tight end. This wingback provided the offense with another blocker at the point of attack in which to cut down opposing linebackers. Nine-year running back Ed Podolak had led the Chiefs in rushing yards 5 times, but 1977 was his final NFL season. Tony Reed was a dazzling runner. Future Hall of Fame linebacker Jack Ham was quoted as saying after their 1978 Week 9 game, "He's as good a running back as there is in this league." At the same part of the 1978 season, head coach Marv Levy was quoted as saying, "Tony's as complete a running back as I've ever seen." And Levy was 53 years old at the time and coached 9 professional seasons and 16 collegiate seasons prior to 1978. Tony Reed was strong, swift, and shifty. His 5.1 yards per carry was the 3rd highest in the NFL, as was his total yards from scrimmage. In 1976, MacArthur Lane's 66 catches led the NFL, but in 1978, his last year in the league, he had almost half of that total, 36. Tony Reed took over as the Chiefs' top running back receiver with 48 receptions. Terry Miller's 1978 season was a career year that he didn't come close to replicating. He was the most productive runner in Big 8 history at Oklahoma State University. He finished 4th in the Heisman Trophy vote in 1976 and 2nd in 1977. As a Bills rookie, he rushed for 1,060 yards, 7 touchdowns, and a 4.5 average, and he made the NFL All-Rookie team. His 1,306 scrimmage yards was 541 more than O.J. Simpson's total with the 49ers. Miller took over for O.J., who was traded to San Francisco on March 24, 1978. Miller's 11.2 yards per catch in 1978 was excellent for a running back, but credit should be given to guards Joe DeLamielleure and Reggie McKenzie. Miller was a flash in the pan, as he had 595 scrimmage yards with a 3.5 yards per carry in 1979, 60 scrimmage yards with a 2.9 yards per carry in 1980, and only 4 scrimmage yards with a 2.0 yards per carry in 1981. Memphis State University's Trell Middleton was a third-round draft pick by the Cardinals in 1977. They traded him to Green Bay for cornerback Perry Smith on that same draft day. This was a prearranged deal whereby St. Louis was actually picking for Green Bay. Middleton started slowly, with only 124 scrimmage yards in 1977. Big bruising Barty Smith was the Packers' #1 running back that year with 894 scrimmage yards. While Barty had 154 carries in 1978, Trell's 284 carries were the 5th most in the league, and his 318 total touches was the 4th most. Middleton made the NFC Pro Bowl team on the basis of 1,116 rushing yards and 12 total touchdowns. Gee, I don't have any idea as to why the quarterback was confused as to the play call here. Here's Seahawks head coach Jack Patera and Packers head coach Bart Starr sporting his Gilligan hat. Middleton wasn't the greatest receiver, as he only caught 34 of 57 targets, a very low percentage for a running back since they typically run very short pass patterns. This is the first touchdown reception of his NFL career, one of only 3. His excellent running kept defenses honest, like on this play-action pass to fellow rookie James Lofton, a future Hall of Famer. Middleton's success was short-lived. In 1979, he only had 650 scrimmage yards and 3 total touchdowns, and from 1980 through 1983, he had a combined 685 total yards and 3 total touchdowns. At 6 foot even and only 195 pounds, Middleton wasn't a big guy. I think that all of the punishment that he sustained from that 1978 season curtailed what could have been a more promising career. Still, the 1978 Packers' 8 wins, 7 loss, and 1 tie record was their best since 1972's 10-4 record, and Middleton was a key reason. The 1977 Seattle Seahawks drafted 6'3", 216-pound fullback David Sims with their 7th-round selection. At the time, Sims was Georgia Tech's all-time leading rusher. While he had a fine showing as a rookie, his yardage and touchdown production nearly doubled in 1978. His 14 rushing touchdowns in 1978 led the NFL, and his contribution was a key reason for the third-year Seahawks' fine 9-7 record. Additionally, the Seahawks drew the 8th most fans in terms of home attendance. Number 47, Sherman Smith, finished with a couple hundred more total yards than Simms did in 1978, but when his runs fell short of the end zone, it was often Simms who put the ball in it. Smith had 7 total touchdowns to Simms's 15. Head coach Jack Patera was the fastest gum chewer in the West and couldn't go wrong with either running back. Unfortunately, Simms tore an ACL in his knee after only 3 games played in 1979, and that was the end of his NFL career. The Patriots' Matt Kieran is another one-year wonder at running back, as is the Chargers' Don Woods. Look for these thumbnails in the special features section of my playlist, as I have a fully dedicated video for each one of these players.